Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get stuck in problems? The more we think about them, the heavier they feel and the harder life seems. But here's a life-changing truth. What you focus on expands. If you keep focusing on problems, they multiply. If you focus on solutions, opportunities begin to appear where you never thought possible. This mindset shift can change everything, from your relationships to your career, from your health to your inner peace. In this video, we'll explore how to break free from problem thinking and step into solution-focused living that leads to success and growth. Why focusing on problems keeps you stuck? The first thing we must understand is that problems are not the enemy. Our focus is. Every single person on this planet faces challenges, but not everyone is consumed by them. The difference lies in where attention is placed. When you constantly think about what's wrong, you unknowingly feed it energy. The more you replay the issue in your mind, the more overwhelming it feels. Instead of moving forward, you circle around the same negativity, almost like being trapped on a treadmill that goes nowhere. Why does this happen? Because the human brain is wired to magnify what we focus on. If you wake up in the morning and focus on how tired you are, you'll feel exhausted all day. If you walk into work and keep repeating, "I hate this job," every task will feel unbearable. In the same way, if you focus on the problem, be it financial struggles, relationship issues, or personal failures, your brain will start filtering the world in a way that highlights only those difficulties. This creates a mental loop where the problem grows, while the possibility of a solution shrinks. Think about it. Has worrying ever solved a single problem? No. Worry paralyzes. It doesn't empower. Complaining may bring temporary relief, but it doesn't change the situation. What truly changes circumstances is shifting the energy from complaint to creativity, from problem to solution. Focusing only on problems also drains motivation. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every problem you obsess over is another rock you add. Eventually, you're so weighed down that you can't take a single step toward progress. Solutions, on the other hand, are like removing the rocks one by one. They lighten your load and give you the strength to keep going. Another danger of problem-focused thinking is how it shapes your identity. When people constantly dwell on sues, they start to become the problem. They say, "I am broke, I am unlucky, I am stuck." Notice how the problem is no longer separate from them. It has merged with who they believe they are. This is powerful, because once the problem becomes part of your identity, you stop even looking for solutions. But here's the liberating truth. Problems are temporary. They are events, not identities. They are signals pointing you to areas that need attention, not definitions of who you are. And once you stop giving them power through your focus, they lose their ability to control you. The reality is this: life will always bring challenges. You cannot eliminate problems, but you can choose how to respond to them. You can either feed the fire of negativity or redirect your energy towards solutions. And it is this shift that separates those who stay stuck from those who rise above. So the first step in transforming your life is simple but profound. Stop giving your problems the spotlight. Problems will always exist, but your focus determines whether they become roadblocks or stepping stones. The power of a solution-oriented mindset. A solution-oriented mindset is one of the most valuable skills you can develop in life. It doesn't mean ignoring your problems, pretending everything is fine, or living in denial. Instead, it means choosing to direct your energy toward what can be done instead of what went wrong. This simple shift in perspective transforms obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. When you develop this mindset, you train your brain to search for answers automatically. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "What can I do?" And that one small shift changes everything. Because while problems keep you stuck in the past, solutions open the door to the future. Think about the most successful people in the world: entrepreneurs, leaders, athletes, even spiritual teachers. None of them reached greatness because life was problem-free. They succeeded because they mastered the art of looking beyond the problem and focusing on the next move. When businesses failed, they didn't sit in despair forever. They innovated. When relationships broke down, they didn't stay trapped in blame. They grew and learned. When health challenges appeared, they didn't only complain, they searched for healing strategies. That's the power of being solution-oriented. It builds resilience. Problems lose their ability to paralyze you because you no longer see them as walls, but as doors waiting to be opened. Every challenge becomes a puzzle, and every puzzle has a solution if you're willing to look for it. Another benefit of this mindset is the peace it brings. Worrying about problems creates stress, anxiety, and even physical illness. But when your mind is trained to focus on solutions, you feel empowered. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," you start saying, "I'll find a way." That inner dialogue not only calms the mind, but also activates creativity and resourcefulness. Your energy shifts from being drained by fear to being fueled by hope. A solution-oriented mindset also influences how others perceive you. People are naturally drawn to those who bring answers rather than excuses. Whether in your workplace, your family, or your community, you become a person others trust and respect. Why? Because you radiate strength. While others see problems, you see possibilities. And in a world full of complainers, being a problem solver sets you apart. But here's an important point. Being solution-focused doesn't mean you'll have all the answers immediately. Sometimes solutions take time to reveal themselves. The key is to remain in a state of openness and possibility. Instead of shutting down with thoughts like, "Nothing can be done," you keep your mind curious. What if I tried this? What if I learned from someone else? What if I took one small step today? These questions ignite creativity and slowly lead you toward breakthroughs. At its core, a solution-oriented mindset is an act of faith. It's choosing to believe that no matter how difficult the problem seems, there is a way forward. And that belief alone often becomes the bridge to the answer you are searching for. So if you want to transform your life, stop being the person who only talks about problems. Become the person who searches, experiments, and creates solutions. Because at the end of the day, problems demand attention, but solutions create transformation. How problems can be opportunities in disguise. One of the most powerful truths you can embrace is this: problems are not always what they appear to be. On the surface, they may look like obstacles, setbacks, or even punishments. But if you look deeper with the eyes of wisdom, many problems are actually opportunities in disguise. They come into your life not to destroy you, but to shape you into a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself. Every great breakthrough in history began with a problem. The light bulb was invented because darkness was a problem. Medicines were discovered because disease was a problem. Airplanes were created because distance was a problem. Behind every innovation, every success story, and every transformation lies a challenge that pushed someone to look for answers. Without problems, humanity would remain stagnant. It is through difficulties that growth and progress become possible. The same principle applies to your personal life. Think about the challenges you faced in the past. At the time, they may have felt unbearable. But looking back, you'll often realize that those very struggles shaped your character, sharpened your resilience, or redirected your life towards something better. A failed relationship may have taught you self-respect. A financial crisis may have taught you resourcefulness. A health issue may have taught you the value of self-care. Problems, when embraced correctly, become hidden teachers. The key is perspective. When a problem arises, most people immediately ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But a solution-oriented person asks, "What can I learn from this? What opportunity is hiding here?" This mindset shift transforms the energy around the problem. Instead of becoming a victim of circumstances, you become a student of life. Instead of being trapped in fear, you step into curiosity. Let's take an exam. Imagine losing your job. For someone problem-focused, this could feel like the end of the world. They would drown in worry, self-pity, and fear of the future. But for someone with a solution-focused mindset, this same problem could spark an opportunity to start a new career, launch a business, learn new skills, or finally pursue their passion. The event is the same, but the perspective determines whether it becomes a breakdown or a breakthrough. Here's another example: a disagreement in a relationship. A problem-focused mind would see it as a reason to create distance, anger, or blame. But a solution-focused perspective would see it as an opportunity to improve communication, build understanding, and strengthen the bond. In this way, what seemed like a threat becomes a chance for deeper connection. Problems are also opportunities because they reveal hidden strengths. You never know how strong you are until life tests you. The problem you are facing today may be the very thing that awakens your inner power, courage, and creativity. Sometimes the universe puts a roadblock in your path, not to stop you, but to redirect you toward a better road you would have never chosen otherwise. So instead of resenting problems, start welcoming them as messengers of growth. Ask yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? What new possibility is waiting for me here? The moment you shift your focus from resistance to curiosity, the problem transforms into a stepping stone. Remember this: problems are not punishments. They are opportunities disguised as challenges. If you can train your mind to see beyond the struggle, you will find that every problem holds within it the seed of a solution, the spark of growth, and the chance for transformation. The role of perspective in finding solutions. Perspective is everything. Two people can face the exact same problem, yet their outcomes may be completely different. Why? Because it's not the size of the problem that determines the result, it's the lens through which we see it. The way you choose to interpret challenges plays a direct role in whether you remain stuck or move forward. Let's imagine this: a storm arrives. One person sees it as destruction and hides in fear, while another sees it as nourishment for the soil and prepares to plant seeds. The storm is the same, but the perspective is different. Likewise in life, problems themselves are neutral. It's our interpretation that gives them power. If we see a problem as the end, it will paralyze us. But if we see it as a lesson, it will push us toward growth. Your perspective acts like a filter in your brain. If you constantly view life through a negative lens, your mind will highlight every difficulty, every obstacle, and every reason to give up. But when you shift your perspective to solutions, your brain starts scanning for possibilities, resources, and creative ideas. This is why two people with the same financial struggles, for example, can have different results. One keeps saying, "I can't afford this," while the other asks, "How can I afford this?" The difference lies not in the problem itself, but in the perspective applied to it. Perspective also influences your emotional state. When you focus on the problem, you feel fear, stress, and hopelessness. These emotions drain your energy and make it harder to think clearly. But when you focus on solutions, your emotions shift toward hope, curiosity, and empowerment. This change in state directly affects your ability to act. In other words, perspective is not just a mental shift, it's also an emotional fuel that drives your behavior. Another important aspect of perspective is reframing. Reframing means taking the same situation but choosing to see it in a more empowering way. For example, instead of saying, "I failed," you can reframe it to, "I learned what doesn't work." Instead of thinking, "This setback ruined everything," you can reframe it to, "This is guiding me toward a better path." By reframing, you don't deny the reality of the problem. You simply choose to focus on its hidden value. Let's take an everyday example: running late for an appointment. A problem-focused perspective would be, "This always happens to me. Nothing ever goes right. My whole day is ruined." A solution-focused perspective would be, "Okay, I'm late. Let me use this time to prepare mentally, listen to something positive, and make sure I communicate clearly with the person I'm meeting." The event is the same, but the emotional outcome is completely different. Your perspective also shapes the stories you tell yourself about life. If your story is, "Life is unfair and problems always come to me," then every challenge will reinforce that belief. But if your story is, "Every problem carries a gift of growth," then challenges become less threatening and more meaningful. This is why spiritual teachers and motivational leaders often emphasize that we cannot always control external events, but we can always control our perspective. At the end of the day, perspective is the bridge between a problem and a solution. When you see life only through the eyes of struggle, you remain trapped in limitation. But when you open your eyes to possibility, you activate creativity, courage, and resilience. And that's when solutions begin to appear. So remember, problems are inevitable, but perspective is a choice. Choose wisely, because the way you see your challenges will determine whether they break you or build you. Breaking the habit of complaining. One of the biggest roadblocks to becoming solution-focused is the habit of complaining. At first glance, complaining might feel harmless, even natural. After all, when something goes wrong, venting about it gives a sense of relief. But here's the truth. Complaining is a trap. It keeps you tied to the problem, drains your energy, and prevents you from moving forward toward solutions. Think about it. Every time you complain, you are reinforcing the problem in your mind. You are giving it more power, more space, and more control over your thoughts. Instead of shrinking the problem, complaining makes it grow. And the more you focus on the problem, the harder it becomes to see the way out. Complaining doesn't just waste time, it trains your brain to stay stuck. Another hidden danger of complaining is how it affects your environment. People are naturally repelled by negativity. When you constantly talk about problems without offering solutions, you push people away. Instead of being seen as a person of strength and inspiration, you become associated with heaviness and frustration. On the other hand, when you break the cycle of complaining and bring a solution-oriented attitude, people are drawn to you. They see you as someone who uplifts, not someone who drains. Now let's be clear, expressing emotions is healthy. There is a difference between acknowledging your feelings and dwelling in complaints. Sharing your struggles with someone who can help is productive. But repeating the same complaints over and over without seeking action is destructive. It locks you in a victim mindset where you see yourself as powerless, and powerlessness is the enemy of progress. Breaking the habit of complaining begins with awareness. Start noticing how often you complain in your daily life about traffic, work, relationships, finances, or even small inconveniences. You may be surprised to discover how much of your energy goes into reinforcing negativity. Once you're aware, you can begin to shift. Instead of saying, "This is so unfair," train yourself to ask, "What can I do about it?" This one simple question transforms a complaint into a possibility. Another strategy is to replace complaints with gratitude. Whenever you feel like complaining, pause and think of one thing you're grateful for. Gratitude flips your focus from what's lacking to what's present. It doesn't erase the problem, but it changes your state of mind so you can face the issue with more strength. For example, instead of complaining about your workload, you might say, "I'm grateful I have a job. Now how can I manage this better?" This small shift keeps you empowered. Also, surround yourself with people who are solution-focused. If your circle is full of complainers, it becomes easy to fall into the same habit. But when you're around people who constantly look for answers, their mindset influences yours. You begin to absorb their energy of resilience and creativity. Finally, remember this truth. Life responds to your energy. Complaining tells the universe, "I'm stuck, I'm powerless, I can't handle this." But choosing solution signals, "I'm ready, I'm capable, I'm open to possibilities." And when you send out that message, opportunities begin to appear. Breaking the habit of complaining is not just about being more positive, it's about reclaiming your power. Problems may knock on your door, but you don't have to host them forever. You have the choice to stop feeding the problem with complaints and start fueling the solution with action. Building resilience through solutions. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties. It's about how you rise when difficulties arrive. Every person faces challenges, but not every person bounces back with the same strength. What makes the difference? The ability to focus on solutions rather than problems. This is the foundation of resilience. training yourself to respond with creativity, courage, and clarity instead of fear, panic, and helplessness. Think about a rubber band. No matter how much you stretch it, it returns to its original shape. That's resilience. Life will stretch you, bend you, and test you. But if your mindset is solution-focused, you'll always find a way to bounce back. Without resilience, every setback feels like the end. With resilience, every setback becomes a stepping stone. So how does focusing on solutions build resilience? First, it shifts your identity. When you see yourself as someone who can always find a way, you stop identifying as a victim of circumstances. Instead, you become the creator of outcomes. This shift empowers you because no matter how tough the situation gets, you believe in your ability to adapt and respond. That belief alone makes you stronger than the problem. Second, focusing on solutions strengthens your emotional stability. Problems are emotionally heavy. They bring stress, fear, anger, and frustration. If you stay stuck in those emotions, they drain your energy and weaken your ability to act. But when you shift your focus to solutions, you generate feelings of hope, determination, and curiosity. These positive emotions fuel your resilience, helping you face difficulties with a clear mind and a strong heart. Third, solutions create momentum. Problems tend to paralyze, while solutions inspire action. Even the smallest step toward a solution, making a plan, seeking advice, or trying a new approach, creates a sense of power. Progress builds confidence, and confidence builds resilience. When you realize, I'm not stuck, I'm moving forward, the weight of the problem begins to lift. Resilience is also about flexibility. Sometimes the first solution doesn't work. Sometimes the path you choose leads to another obstacle. But a resilient person doesn't quit. They pivot, they adjust, they experiment, they stay open to alternatives. This flexibility comes naturally when your mind is focused on solutions, because instead of obsessing over what went wrong, you're constantly scanning for what else might work. Another key point: resilience grows with practice. The more you face problems with a solution-oriented mindset, the stronger your resilience muscle becomes. At first, it might feel difficult to stop complaining or worrying, but with time, your brain learns to automatically look for answers. Each challenge becomes training for the next. Over time, you develop an inner toughness that nothing can shake. Take a moment to reflect. Who do you admire most in your life? Chances are, they are people who faced hardships but refused to give up. They found ways to keep moving, even when the odds were against them. That's resilience. And you have the power to build the same within yourself by focusing on solutions. Remember, resilience doesn't mean you won't feel pain or fear. It means you refuse to let those feelings control you. It means you choose to rise, to act, to believe that there is always a way forward. And that choice, the choice to be solution-focused, transforms every storm into an opportunity for strength, turning setbacks into setups for success. Every great success story you've ever heard has one thing in common: setbacks. Whether it's an entrepreneur who lost everything before building a global empire, an athlete who faced countless defeats before winning the championship, or an artist who endured years of rejection before recognition, setbacks are part of the journey. But here's the key difference. Successful people don't treat setbacks as the end of the road. They treat them as setups for something greater. When you focus only on the problem, setbacks feel final. You begin to believe the story of defeat. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this was never meant for me. But when you shift your focus to solutions, a new perspective emerges. What can I learn from this? How can this experience prepare me for something bigger? This mindset transforms failure into fuel. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He's often quoted as saying, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each failed experiment wasn't a dead end. It was a setup for discovering the one method that would finally succeed. Without those thousands of setbacks, the light bulb we take for granted today might never have existed. The same principle applies to your life. That job you didn't get? Maybe it's setting you up for a better opportunity aligned with your purpose. That relationship that ended? Maybe it's clearing space for one that will help you grow. that mistake you made. Maybe it's teaching you the wisdom you'll need when bigger responsibilities come your way. Life is always preparing you, but only if you're willing to see setbacks as setups. Here's how to make that shift. Reframe the experience. Instead of labeling a setback as failure, reframe it as feedback. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? That lesson could be the exact tool you need for future success. Look for hidden opportunities. Sometimes doors close so that you can notice another one you were ignoring. By focusing on solutions, you train your eyes to spot those hidden openings. Build mental toughness. Every setback strengthens your resilience if you choose to see it that way. Each obstacle you overcome becomes proof of your ability to handle whatever comes next. Stay future-focused. A setback feels heavy because it ties you to the past, but solutions live in the future. When you keep your eyes on where you're going, setbacks become stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. Remember, success is rarely a straight line. It's a series of twists, turns, and detours. The people who win are not those who avoid setbacks, but those who know how to turn them into setups. Each problem you face carries a seed of possibility. If you water that seed with persistence and faith, it can grow into your greatest success. So the next time life knocks you down, don't just ask, why did this happen to me? Instead ask, how is this preparing me for what's next? That single question can transform your entire outlook and open doors you never imagined. Because in truth, setbacks are not obstacles to your destiny. They are preparation for it. The power of asking better questions. The quality of your life is often determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Questions shape your focus, and your focus shapes your reality. When problems arise, most people ask disempowering questions like, why does this always happen to me? What's wrong with my life? Or, why can't I ever get it right? These kinds of questions trap you in the problem. They focus your energy on blame, frustration, and helplessness. But there's another way, a powerful way. If you learn to ask better questions, you can instantly shift from being problem-focused to solution-focused. Instead of asking, why me? You can ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, why is this so hard? You can say, how can I make this easier? Instead of wondering, why don't I have enough? You can ask, what resources can I use creatively to move forward? Notice how the second set of questions doesn't trap you. They unlock possibilities. Questions are like keys. The wrong key won't open the door, no matter how hard you try. But the right key, the right question, unlocks new ideas, new perspectives, and new pathways. This is why some people stay stuck in the same problems while others rise out of them. It's not that life gave one person fewer problems. It's that one person asked better questions. Let's take an example. Imagine you lose your job. A problem-focused question would be, why did this happen to me? What if I can't find another one? These questions create fear and paralysis. But a solution-focused question would be, what skills can I develop now to increase my value? Who in my network can I reach out to? What opportunities could this open for me that I couldn't see before? The second approach doesn't erase the challenge, but it empowers you to act. Another powerful shift is asking future-focused questions problems keep you stuck in the past. What went wrong? Who to blame? How things should have been? But future-focused questions pull you toward progress. Instead of why did I fail? You can ask, what can I do differently next time to succeed? The past cannot be changed, but the future is waiting to be shaped. Also, never underestimate the power of solution-oriented group questions. When you're with a team, a family, or even friends, asking questions like, what are our options? What's the first step we can take? How can we support each other through this? Transforms the energy of the group. Instead of spreading worry, you spread possibility. This collective problem-solving often leads to breakthroughs that one person alone might not have seen. Here's the truth. The brain is a problem-solving machine. Whatever question you give it, it will search for an answer. If you ask negative questions, you'll get negative answers. If you ask empowering questions, you'll get empowering answers. So, make it a habit. Every time you face a challenge, pause and ask, what can I learn from this? What's the first step I can take? How can this situation make me stronger? What's the hidden opportunity here? The questions you ask determine whether you stay stuck in problems or move forward into solutions. So choose wisely, because your questions shape your destiny. The role of positive energy in problem solving. Energy is everything. The way you show up mentally and emotionally determines how you experience challenges and how effectively you solve them. Think about it. When you're stressed, angry, or fearful, your mind feels foggy, your decisions become reactive, and your creativity shuts down. But when you're calm, optimistic, and energized, ideas flow, solutions appear, and even the hardest obstacles feel lighter. That's the power of positive energy in problem solving. Positive energy isn't about ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about choosing the state of mind and heart that gives you strength, clarity, and resilience. Imagine two people facing the same setback. Say, a failed business deal. One person reacts with negativity. This always happens to me. I'll never succeed. They feel drained, defeated, and stuck. The other person reacts with positive energy. Okay, this didn't work, but maybe there's a better path ahead. What can I do next? They feel hopeful, motivated, and ready to act. The situation is the same, but the energy is completely different, and so is the outcome. When you carry negative energy, you attract more problems. You see obstacles everywhere, you doubt yourself, and you unintentionally make poor choices. But when you carry positive energy, you see opportunities even in difficulties. You attract supportive people, creative ideas, and unexpected resources because your energy is aligned with progress, not defeat. So how do you generate positive energy when problems weigh you down? Shift your focus. Positive energy comes from focusing on solutions. The more you think about what's wrong, the heavier you'll feel. The more you think about what's possible, the lighter you become. Your focus creates your emotional state. Practice gratitude. Even in tough times, there's always something to be grateful for. Gratitude shifts your vibration from scarcity to abundance and from fear to faith. That emotional shift gives you the strength to think clearly and act decisively. Surround yourself with positivity. Energy is contagious. If you're around negative people, their fear and complaints will drain you. But if you spend time with positive, solution-focused people, their optimism will lift you higher. Choose your environment wisely. Take care of your body. Physical energy fuels mental energy. Sleep, exercise, nutrition, and even breathing deeply can restore the vitality you need to face challenges with strength. Use positive language. Words carry power. Replace "I can't" with "I'll try." Replace "this is impossible" with "there must be a way." The language you use shapes the energy you feel, and the energy you feel shapes the solutions you find. The truth is, problems are not solved with the same energy that created them. If you approach challenges with fear, anger, or despair, you'll stay stuck in the problem. But if you bring hope, creativity, and determination, you unlock solutions that were invisible before. Positive energy doesn't mean life will be easy. It means you'll have the strength to keep going even when it's hard. It's the fuel that turns obstacles into opportunities and problems into progress. So remember, protect your energy, guard it, nurture it, and choose it deliberately. Because the energy you bring to a problem determines whether you sink under it or rise above it. Developing a growth mindset. When it comes to solving problems and finding solutions, nothing is more powerful than a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and talents are not fixed. They can be developed with effort, practice, and persistence. On the other hand, a fixed mindset makes you believe that things are permanent. I'm just not good at this. This is too hard for me. I'll never improve. And once you accept those thoughts, you stop trying. But with a growth mindset, problems stop being threats. They become opportunities to grow, to expand, and to strengthen yourself. Every difficulty is no longer a wall blocking your path. It's a stepping stone to a higher level of skill, resilience, and wisdom. Think of a child learning to walk. They fall dozens of times, but they don't see falling as failure. They see it as part of the process, and because of that natural growth mindset, they eventually succeed. The same principle applies to every challenge in your life. If you see setbacks as evidence that you can't succeed, you'll stop. But if you see them as feedback for learning, you'll keep moving forward until you master it. Here's how you can develop and strengthen a growth mindset in your daily life. Embrace challenges. Instead of avoiding hard things, lean into them. Every challenge you face is a chance to expand your abilities. When you push beyond your comfort zone, you unlock new strengths you didn't even know you had. Value effort over outcome. A fixed mindset makes you obsessed with winning or succeeding quickly. But a growth mindset values the process. Every effort, even if it doesn't bring immediate results, is building your skills and resilience. Reframe mistakes as lessons. People with a fixed mindset fear mistakes because they see them as proof of failure. But people with a growth mindset see mistakes as teachers. Each misstep reveals what doesn't work and brings you closer to what does. Replace "I can't" with "I can learn." Language matters. The words you use shape your beliefs. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I can't do this yet, but I can learn." That small shift keeps your mind open to growth. Celebrate progress. Don't just wait until the finish line to feel good. Celebrate small wins along the way. Every little step forward proves that you're growing, and it keeps you motivated to keep going. A growth mindset turns problems into training grounds. Each challenge is no longer an enemy. It's a personal coach guiding you to level up. The more you develop this mindset, the less power problems will have over you. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you'll begin to ask, "How can this make me better?" When you adopt a growth mindset, you don't just focus on solutions, you become the solution. Because no matter what life throws at you, you'll trust that you have the ability to grow, adapt, and overcome. Taking responsibility for your outcomes. One of the most powerful steps in shifting from problems to solutions is taking full responsibility for your life. Responsibility does not mean blame. It doesn't mean everything is your fault. But it does mean recognizing that you have the power to choose your response, your actions, and ultimately your results. Without responsibility, solutions cannot exist. Many people stay stuck in problems because they hand away their power. They blame circumstances, other people, or even fate. They say things like, "I can't succeed because the economy is bad," or "My life is miserable because of what they did to me." While those factors may be real, focusing on them gives away your control. If you believe your future depends only on what others do, then you've already surrendered. But when you take responsibility, something shifts. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about it?" That small shift changes everything, because now your energy is directed toward action instead of complaint. Responsibility puts you in the driver's seat. Imagine you're in a car heading toward your destination. If you blame the road, the weather, or the traffic for every delay, you'll feel helpless. But if you take responsibility, you adjust your speed, find a new route, or wait until conditions improve. The external world doesn't control the outcome, you do. Taking responsibility also means owning your choices. Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that where you are today is the result of yesterday's decisions, and where you'll be tomorrow will depend on today's choices. That may sound heavy, but it's actually empowering. It means you don't have to wait for anyone else to change your life. The power is in your hands right now. Here are a few practical ways to practice responsibility in your life. Stop the blah, me game. Every time you feel tempted to blame someone else, pause and ask yourself, what part of this is in my control? What can I do right now to move forward? Take ownership of your emotions. Problems often trigger anger, fear, or frustration. But no one controls your emotions except you. Instead of saying, "They made me mad," try, "I allowed this to upset me. Now, how can I respond better?" Be solution-oriented in every decision. Taking responsibility means looking at what you can do differently, not waiting for others to fix things. Commit to growth. If you made a mistake, don't run from it. Own it, learn from it, and grow stronger. Responsibility isn't about perfection, it's about progress. When you take responsibility, life becomes lighter. Problems no longer feel like punishments. They become challenges you're equipped to handle. You no longer waste energy on excuses. Instead, you invest it in solutions. Remember this: the moment you accept responsibility, you claim your power back. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You become the creator of your destiny. And once you step into that power, there is no problem too great, no obstacle too heavy, and no setback too final. Turning setbacks into comebacks. Every person on this planet faces setbacks. It doesn't matter how talented, intelligent, or prepared you are, life will throw challenges your way. But here's the difference between people who stay stuck and those who rise. Some see setbacks as the end, while others use them as fuel for a comeback. A setback is simply life's way of saying, not this path, not this time. Adjust and try again. Too often, we treat setbacks as failures instead of feedback. We get discouraged, we give up, or we start believing we aren't capable. But the truth is, setbacks are not stop signs. They are signals to redirect, refocus, and rebuild. Think about some of the greatest success stories in history. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter manuscript was rejected by multiple publishers before becoming a global phenomenon. These people didn't let setbacks define them. They used them as stepping stones for their comebacks. Turning setbacks into comebacks requires a specific mindset and strategy. Accept the reality without self-pity. The first step is to face the setback honestly. Denial or self-pity only wastes energy. Accept what happened, but don't label it as the end. Instead ask, what is this teaching me? Extract the lesson. Every setback carries wisdom. Maybe you need more preparation. Maybe your timing wasn't right. Maybe a different approach is required. Learn the lesson quickly so you can apply it to your next move. Rebuild with greater strength. Setbacks are like resistance in a workout. They make you stronger if you keep pushing. Every time you rise after falling, you develop resilience, courage, and wisdom that no easy success could ever give you. Maintain hope and vision. A comeback starts with belief. If you don't believe it's possible you'll never act on it. Keep your vision alive. Remind yourself why you started and what you're fighting for. Take bold action again. Don't stay in pause mode forever. Once you've learned your lesson, act again. This time, smarter and stronger. Progress is built on persistence. A setback is not a verdict, it's a setup. Life uses difficulties to prepare you for greater victories. Without challenges, you wouldn't discover your true capacity. Without failures, you wouldn't appreciate success. And without setbacks, you'd never experience the joy of a powerful comeback. So the next time you face a setback, don't let it break your spirit. Instead, let it spark your determination. Say to yourself, this is not the end of my story. This is the beginning of my comeback. Because in the end, your setbacks don't define you. Your response to them does. And when you choose to rise, every obstacle becomes proof that you were destined for greater things. Living a solution-focused life. Living a solution-focused life is not just about tackling problems as they come. It's about adopting an entire mindset that transforms the way you approach every area of existence. It means training your mind to naturally look for opportunities, possibilities, and actions instead of dwelling on what's wrong. When you embody this approach, you don't just solve problems. You rise above them and you create a life filled with purpose, progress, and peace. A solution-focused life begins with awareness. Every day, you will face situations that could either pull you into negativity or push you toward growth. The difference lies in how you interpret them. Someone who is problem-focused says, why does this always happen to me? While someone who is solution-focused says, what can I do with this situation to grow stronger? The power is not in the event itself, but in your response. The second key is consistency. Living this way is not about having a positive reaction once in a while. It's about making solution thinking your default setting. This means catching yourself when you slip into complaint mode, redirecting your thoughts toward possibilities, and developing habits that reinforce progress. Over time, your brain becomes wired to search for answers instead of obstacles. The third element is resilience. A solution-focused life does not mean life will suddenly become easy. Problems will still arise. Challenges will still test you. But resilience ensures you don't stay stuck. You learn to adapt, to bend without breaking, and to move forward despite setbacks. Resilience is the bridge that carries you from problem to solution again and again. Living solution-focused also requires vision. Without a clear vision, even the best solutions may feel empty. When you know what you're working toward, a better career, healthier relationships, inner peace, your focus naturally shifts toward actions that align with your goals. Vision sharpens your decisions and keeps your energy flowing in the right direction. Here are a few daily practices to embody a solution-focused lifestyle. Start your day with gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's working, creating a mindset of abundance. Ask empowering questions. Instead of "why me?" ask "how can I make this better?" or "what's the next step forward?" Take small but consistent actions. Even tiny steps toward a solution build momentum and confidence. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Every solution you find, no matter how small, is proof of your growth. Surround yourself with positivity. Choose environments, people, and content that fuel your mind with solutions, not problems. When you live a solution-focused life, you begin to realize something extraordinary. Problems are not enemies. They are invitations. Each one is an opportunity to evolve, to discover your strength, and to align closer with your purpose. A solution-focused life is not just a way of surviving, it's a way of thriving. It's about turning challenges into lessons, obstacles into opportunities, and setbacks into stepping stones. And once you adopt this lifestyle, you'll find that no matter what life throws at you, you'll always have the power to rise, rebuild, and keep moving forward. Life is not free of challenges. Every single day, each one of us faces difficulties, big or small. But what separates the people who keep moving forward from those who remain stuck is one simple choice: where they put their focus. Problems will always be there, but focusing on solutions transforms those problems from heavy burdens into stepping stones for growth. When we dwell on problems, we give them power. We amplify them, and they consume our energy, leaving us frustrated and hopeless. But the moment we shift our attention towards solutions, something incredible happens. We take back control. We move from being victims of our circumstances to creators of our future. We stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" A solution-focused life is not about ignoring difficulties. It's about facing them with courage, wisdom, and creativity. It's about understanding that every challenge carries a hidden opportunity, every setback hides a lesson, and every closed door is a signal to find another way. When you commit to focusing on solutions, you stop wasting time on what you cannot change, and you invest your energy in what you can improve. Think about it. Every major innovation, every inspiring success story, every breakthrough in history came from someone who refused to stay stuck in the problem. They shifted their mindset, looked for possibilities, and took action. And you can do the same in your own life. Whether it's your career, relationships, health, or personal growth, solutions exist. The question is, are you willing to look for them? Remember this truth: what you focus on expands. Focus on problems, and problems will grow. Focus on solutions, and solutions will multiply. This is not just positive thinking, it's practical living. Because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, results follow. So, as you move forward from today, make a choice. When problems appear, and they will, pause for a moment, breathe, and then shift your mindset. What's the solution here? What can I do differently? How can I grow stronger through this? With this approach, no obstacle, can keep you down for long. In the end, life is not defined by the problems you face. It is defined by the solutions you create. Problems test you, but solutions transform you. Problems may slow you down, but solutions lift you higher. Problems are temporary, but solutions build legacies. So rise above the noise, step into your strength, and live with the conviction that solutions are always within reach. And here's the hook I want you to take with you. Don't let problems dictate your destiny. Let solutions design your future. Don't be a prisoner of problems. Be a pioneer of solutions. Because the moment you choose solutions over problems, you don't just change your situation, you change your entire life.